Excellent. I see the recording. Are we streaming? Excellent. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North Clackamas School District School Board Open Session Meeting. It is now 6:31. I will open this meeting up and call it to order. We'll begin with Director Bauer with the native land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Chair Ford. We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District. It rests on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Malala, and Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land. And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected indigenous and native families, both past and present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our indigenous and native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you for that. As we are online, this moment, I will acknowledge the fact that we are not doing the flag salute because we do not all have a flag that we can salute, but we will return to that when we are back in person. In addition to that, we have a couple board members that are colliding schedules with Thanksgiving being next week. So they're trying to make all their worlds work. We do have a quorum, but a board member may be a little bit late. I'll go ahead and open up the floor to approve our minutes for regular meeting October 28, 2020 and special meeting November 4, 2021. Floor is open.
Director Way, so moved.
Can you please state the whole motion, please?
Yes, I move that we approve the minutes. Do you want the dates?
Yes, please.
November 4th special meeting and October 28th board meeting.
And properly moved. Do I have a second?
Bauer, second.
And properly moved in second. Any discussion needed? Okay, seeing none. All those opposed to approving the regular minutes for October 28, 2021 and special meeting minutes of November 4, 2021, please voice now. Seeing none, minutes are approved. Next thing, I'll open the floor for consent agenda. There are two items on there: employment changes and travel requests for Saving Schellenberg Construction.
Director Bonaloga, I move board approval of the employment changes and the travel request for the Sabin Schellenberg Construction in our consent agenda.
Properly moved. Do I have a second?
Bauer, second.
Director Stradle, second.
Take Director Bauer second. Okay, any discussion needed? Seeing none, those opposed to the consent agenda, please voice yourself now. Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Excellent. Thank you guys for that. And knowing that, Sandra, both approvals of minutes and consent agenda are without Director McVeigh. So we had a 6 vote. So now we're moving into our community comments. Go ahead and read our statement from our policy. A speaker should give their name, city or residence, and the group, if any, that is represented, and will limit their presentation to 3 minutes. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments than time allotted, the board chair has authority to reduce the presentation time for individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with attention to order of sign up and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of district operations and programs that are of a certain of a concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual district staff member or any person connected with the district. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and will be mindful of civil discourse. The board vests in its chair or other presiding officer the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual when their remarks do not adhere to the rules established by the policy. As usual, I will put up the sign that says, let me change my background so you can see it. I will put up the sign when you have 30 seconds. Please be aware we have 9 people signed up. So please be aware of your 3 minutes and when it says 30 seconds. I believe our first speaker that has signed up is Barry Quick. Is Barry Quick here?
He is not, so I have Eric up first. I will
Okay,
admit
great.
him now.
Yes, please. Good evening, Eric. Your sound is off. You're muted.
Barry's actually here, but his link
Oh,
didn't
he's up there.
work, so he's gonna go first, okay?
Okay,
So he's right here.
excellent. Hi, Barry.
Hi there. First to let you know, I've lived in the Happy Valley area for 55 years, my whole life. Went to the original Happy Valley, grew up through the entire school district. My mom was one of the founders of the very first PTA. I'm here, I'm a single dad of a 15-year-old that goes to Adrian Nelson. I'm just gonna give you a little story. I know we've talked about vaccine mandates and stuff. My son was one of the unfortunate ones that has had severe repercussions from it. About 2 days after he got his vaccine, it was the Pfizer, he came into my room complaining that his chest hurt. I told him, I said, it's probably something you did at football. Go lay down, it'll get better. He comes back in, he goes, no, something's really wrong. We end up going to the ER. The doctor says this is an instance of the vaccine. It has been known to happen in young males. So he now has endocardiosis, which is inflammation of the chambers inside the lining. He now has pericardiosis, which is both the heart and the sac around it. That first night, he had to sleep sitting straight up and down because the inflammation would hit the back of his rib cage. So he couldn't lay flat. They prescribed us Advil and Tylenol, sent us home. Got there at about 11:30 at night, got home 6:30 in the morning. The following day, we kind of just monitored it. Everything seemed to be getting better. And then about 8 o'clock that night, he goes, Dad, it's hurting again, really bad, almost in tears. And I said, well, go do what the doctor says, sit straight up. He goes, I've tried that, but he says something else is different. Now, I want you guys to think of this as your kid is telling you this. He says, my whole left side is numb. As a parent, I'm trying not to panic and show him that I'm scared. So I said, get in the car. We went back to the ER. This time we went straight back. We never left for another 8 hours, hooked up to monitors, all of this other BS that was going on. Kaiser doesn't have a pediatric cardiologist. So then they referred us to OHSU. So in about 4 days, we went to OHSU. We're there for almost 6 hours doing tests and interviews. He was one of 2 cases that they had known so far. In that week's time, there were 12 new cases that showed up at OHSU. So it's not as uncommon as they like you to believe. This is my son here. This is what they had to send home. It's a heart monitor. He had to wear this for a day and a half so that they could get a baseline of his heart and how it is acting up. Long story short, he seems to be recovering, but they still have not given me any indication that there's any long-term harm to this. They said it could be 6 months before we'd see any kind of progress. Again, he plays football at Adrian Nelson. He just started wrestling. We have to monitor it very closely to make sure. He's 15. He doesn't know when to stop. That's kind of my story. What I'd like to ask and kind of put out to you as board members, if you are really thinking about making this a mandate, I would like you to get on the record and say, we will pay any cost medically or long-term care if you make this a mandate. I'm looking at $6,000. That's just 2 emergency rooms.
So Barry, your time is up. I actually gave you an extra minute. I hope that you can hear me. I'm sorry that your son is going through what he's going through and your family's going through what they're going through. I appreciate your comments. I believe Eric is next on the list.
That is correct. There you go.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay, you guys?
Yep, we can hear you.
You ready for me to start?
Yep.
Hey, just good news is real quick. This is gonna be the last time you hear from me. You can't see right now. I'll send you a bunch of pictures. We've collected hundreds of shoes representing parents that want me to deliver this last message, and then I'll be done talking to you guys. So they just want me to say this: open your meetings, ensure families have medical choice for the use of max vaccines. Stop pushing curriculum onto children that has proven to drive academic performance at the bottom of this country now. Period. Children have been through shutdowns, masked, and be made to live in fear longer than almost any other state in this entire republic. You've achieved effectively a 0 mortality rate, which is awesome. But so has other districts that have done the exact opposite of you. That have let their kids go to school, play sports, and go to dances. The difference is those states aren't suffering from an increase in bad behavior and reported cases of depression like ours are. For years, this district has followed the state to the bottom in education. This isn't happening despite your best efforts and plans. This is happening as a direct result of your best efforts and plans, period. And COVID didn't exacerbate this. The district's response to COVID did. So I did pick up something from the head of this board, and she said, education is the last monopoly in the world, and we broke up monopolies with a true intention because they're not helpful. But for some reason, we haven't done that education. They got me thinking. Hasn't history shown that those who feel oppressed and underrepresented don't get what they want from demanding it from those who are denying them a seat at the table like you guys are? Look at us in the rain. Look at you guys at home. They create their own table. We create our own seat, and they make those attempting us to hold us down irrelevant. So over the last week, I went to work. I talked to politicians at the city of Milwaukee, the city of Happy Valley. I talked to hundreds of parents. I talked to worn out teachers. I talked to disenfranchised students. And I'll tell you this, if you guys don't start doing what's right for the kids, we will. I've dug deep into your budget, all 197 pages. I tore into it. I researched the precedents for establishing alternative districts. I've looked at options for families that are currently being left behind. And if you're not going to be doing the right thing, we will. And I can tell you right now, the sounds of a Happy Valley School District, the sounds of Milwaukee School District have never sounded better to parents and families that are frustrated as hell with what's going on. So you talk about equality, and you talk about equity. We're asking you that you give our kids the same quality of education that other kids are getting across this nation, because our kids are not. Drop what's not working, drop your agendas, or we'll create our own districts with boards that'll do the right thing, period. I don't want to recall you. I don't want to fight with you. I will make you captains of a sunk ship. Thank you. Enjoy your night from your warm house.
Thank you, Eric. Next on our list, we have Christy. Is Christy here?
I'm admitting her now. There you go. Looks like her audio is connecting.
Excellent. Good evening, Christy. Thank you for coming. Are you ready? We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay. Hello, my name is Christy Schweitzer. I am the president of the Putnam Youth Basketball Board. Myself and our entire board has written you a letter and sent it via email to you earlier in the week. to cover the reasons why we think, one, the fee increase for 2021 should change, and also why reasons why the entire facility use fees should change. The first reason why the 2021 increase should change is because these were last minute changes. They were presented only weeks before we started using gyms. We did not have time to adjust our budget or have any time to plan financially. Number two, the cost increase is going to be directly passed to the players and their families. It will be a $118 increase based on the fees that were incurred on us this year per child in order to cover our costs this year. Number three, the purpose of your increase is to mandate that we have a custodian on staff during every hour we rent the facilities on the weekends. We have been there for over a week and we have never seen the face of a custodian the entire time we are there. Number four, the fees that are being charged to us are time and a half wages for a custodian. We've been renting gyms for over 25 years, every Saturday, every winter. We think it's time to hire a part-time person in that position on Saturdays so that we are not being charged time and a half wages. The fifth reason is that we should be allowed to sanitize our own gyms in the middle, in the beginning and the end, and clean the gyms before we leave. We have been doing this for years, and I don't see why that is not an option for us this year. We've also entered a chart for you to see that our gym costs have raised from last season to this from $5,200 to $11,896. We have lessened our gyms by 275 hours just to get to twice the cost as that we have paid previously. The reasons why we think the entire facility use fee should be changed is because the school board is now looking through a recouping cost lens. I don't know any other part of the North Clackamas School District that involves children to which this lens is used. We also think that whatever policy you create for facilities should not be a one size fits all. We think that you should be at least using a sliding scale. You have 3 different feeder programs, and per the Oregon Department of Education, Milwaukee High School has 63% free and reduced lunches students. Rex Putnam has 44%, and Clackamas High School has 25%, and the fees are the same for all 3 of those groups. We also think that you've expressed to offer scholarships. We frankly can't offer 44% scholarships. We'll go under by next year financially. And I want you to think about one thing, and that is the lens that you use for high school athletes. They don't pay any different fees between playing basketball or soccer. They are charged one fee, and every free and reduced lunch child gets free athletic fees reduced. These are the kids that are going to become your high school athletes. They need a chance to play sports, and right now, we are not giving them a fair chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Next on our list, we have Angela. Is she here?
She should be joining.
Okay.
Connecting to audio now.
Okay. Angela, you're on mute.
Hi there.
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I can't really hear you. Let's see. Okay, are you ready?
We're ready. Good evening.
All right. I just wanted to say that our family has a long history with the North Clackamas School District, filled with so many great memories. This is where I met my husband. This is where I had a wonderful teaching experience at Mount Scott. This is where each of my 3 children have been nurtured and educated by several incredible teachers. However, over the past few years, there's been a shift that really concerns me in the district. There's a culture that's being fostered by some in the district that encourages something that we as educators and parents have been spent years trying to teach our children to stand against. This culture that I'm talking about is bullying. This bullying happens when somebody has a different opinion, an ideology that's different, or a political affiliation that is not embraced by the leadership of the school district. I've experienced this myself personally last year as an employee, when I simply just questioned the district's position that white supremacy, according to them, is entrenched in today's society. For questioning this, I was told that I had, quote, harmed over 70 North Clackamas staff members, caused an emergency staff meeting, and it was determined that I had violated an employee handbook policy of not promoting a cooperative work environment by simply asking that question. I couldn't believe that I was apparently not allowed to discuss any other view other than the one embraced by the district. I resent being put in a position where I had to grovel and beg for forgiveness to keep from being terminated over sharing a different opinion. We've seen and heard about other instances of bullying throughout the district over just differing opinions. There's no shortage of controversy these days. That's true. People are at odds, but we should feel confident when we send our children to school that they won't be bullied at school for having a different opinion, especially by their teachers. Just a month ago, my son was bullied and ridiculed in front of his classmates when an educator learned that he had participated in a peaceful sit out to protest the vaccine mandates. He was called a liar. He was intimidated when he tried to explain his position. And this educator said, quote, "Where do you get your facts? Fox News? Everyone knows Fox News is full of shit." She then encouraged the peers to interrogate him on his position, and he was called ignorant and selfish. This same teacher has now, as a retaliation, has called my employer and told them about my son's attendance.
Chair, I point of order.
I agree. I hear you. Angela, one of our policies is that you cannot bring up anything that has to do with school district employees when you're doing public comment.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, that is not something that we're going to allow you to speak about. If you'd like to put in a complaint, there is a process.
I am filing a formal complaint, yes.
Excellent. Well, we
Okay.
will wait
So
for
the bullying that's happening in our district
And at
needs
this
to
time,
stop.
Angela, I'm sorry, your time was up before I started. I was trying to let you finish,
Mhm.
but you violated the policy earlier. I was trying to let you go through, but I'm gonna ask you that your time is up and you now will have.
Okay, I'm sorry for violating your policy, but please let your teachers know that they should not be violating our children. Thank you.
Okay, next we have
Not sure if
Paul.
Paul might be with them.
Okay,
But we haven't gotten any indication of that. I can admit Danielle would be next up otherwise.
okay, well, let's go with Danielle, and if Danielle wants to pass off to Paul, then we'll do that.
All right. There you go, Danielle. Looks like you're ready to go.
Good evening,
Thank you.
Danielle.
Good evening. So I am, my name is Danielle Basil, and I live in Milwaukee. My children go to the North Clackamas School District. I am on the board for Milwaukee Mustang Youth Basketball Association, and also want to speak about the gym fees and the facility fees. So we all know that the pandemic has been hard on all of us, but even harder on the kids. They lost a year of school, socializing, and sports. This year's nonprofit organizations, we are working hard to get kids back to what we consider normal. There are some major concerns that we have that we won't be able to meet our costs this season, and it puts our future seasons in jeopardy. This season, we had more than 130 athletes try out, with 20% of our parents requesting discounts or scholarships and or payment plans as well. We are doing everything we can to give our kids the opportunity to play basketball. We have been planning fundraisers, but with the increased cost and fees, it still won't be enough to cover the cost. In the last completed season, our fees were just over $5,000 for the 3 gyms that we rented. This year, that cost is over $13,000, with our Saturday custodial fees at $535 per Saturday. With these costs, it's not possible for our nonprofit organizations to serve our community. The success of our local high school programs depend on our feeder programs to prepare athletes to play at the next level. It also allows them to grow and thrive as a group, and these kids will make lifelong friends and learn valuable life lessons through our programs. So we're asking that you reconsider the fees to make our programs possible.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Next, I see Tara.
Admitting her now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tara. You need to unmute.
Yeah, you're on mute. We can't hear you. There you go.
Oh,
Yep, now we can hear you.
my name's Tara Nelson,
Good
part of
evening.
Clackamas County. Site council plays an important role in decision-making. Those who are involved with schools and students on a day-to-day basis, teachers, parents, and other school employees that can make some of the best decisions. Because of this and Oregon state law, ORS 329.704, we'd like to see site councils back at every single campus within our school district. Yes. Successful school site councils are a rubber stamp community. Thoughtfulness, challenging questions on many topics. Many site councils are also specifically charged with finding ways to close gaps in achievement between groups of students. Again, in Oregon state law, ORS 329.704, we'd like to have site councils that are a right back on our campuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Have we found Paul yet or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Started
next-
admitting Corey.
Okay. What about Karen? Karen, I see Karen before Corey.
I've not seen Karen yet.
Okay.
Corey, you're on mute.
We can't hear you. Corey, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Now we
now
got
we
you.
can hear you. Yep, we got you now. Good evening.
Okay, good evening. Hello, my name is Corey. I have a son in 5th grade currently attending school in North Clackamas. My hope from sharing today is to bring awareness to the importance of mental health and ask the question, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? I grew up in a neighboring community of Gresham. When I look back at my time spent going to school there, I have very fond memories of my public school education experience. Sure, there were tough things to get through, but nothing compared to what these kids have experienced these past few years. What they deal with through having social media, cell phones, and an overabundance of information at their disposal is very different from the experience I had trying to decipher messages on my pager in high school. The pandemic has given us a glimpse of what the kids are learning and going through in school. And I have to say, we as parents we have some concerns. I cannot imagine how kids right now feel having so many different political narratives thrown at them and being forced to pick a side or else. It's as if you're shamed for loving your country, shamed for who you vote for, shamed for who your parents vote for, shamed for the color of your skin, shamed for how you feel about the pandemic and its origins, and so on. I think most parents want what's best for their kids. I think regardless of political ideologies and agendas, we want them to excel and be successful, good contributing members of society. So my question to you is, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? My son, who happens to be multiracial, has struggled tremendously with the feeling of isolation from the pandemic and the challenges he faces not feeling like he fits into one certain racial group. His mental health has taken a toll, and I have a feeling that many kids are suffering these same issues. I am shocked. Kids, bottom line, our kids are confused and their mental health and stability is not being nurtured. I am shocked by the new information that the CDC has released that states ER visits for suicide attempts in children ages 12 to 17 in 2020 was up by 22%. And that trend seemed to continue to uptick in 2021 an alarming rate of almost 40%. What policies are you implementing to take care of these kids and to set these kids up for success? What are you doing to address this very clear mental health issue amongst our students in the district? I think the strength of these kids is amazing. Now let's make sure that they have the support that they need. Let's put the political narratives aside and keep the focus on the kids. Let's help them heal and shepherd them to a successful future. Please help me answer the question, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you to all of our speakers. We appreciate you coming and speaking and giving your comments. I want to give a brief summary before we move on to our agenda. I think that I speak for the entire board to say, Danielle, we heard from Danielle, correct? I see it.
Yes, we did.
Okay, cool. All right. I think I speak for the entire board in saying that when parents gather to give comments, it's very important. It's vital for us to hear what our community is thinking and what they desire. I also would like to say to community, as the energy is there and the passion is there, we truly recognize that and we respect that. I would love to meet with some of you to talk about the difference between board governance and school management. We hear a lot of comments accusatory of board not looking at things that are school management. And I'd love to sit down with folks and maybe help understand the difference between what board governance is and what school management is and where you can put your energy to good use. In addition to that, I would also like to say publicly that we are headed for an economic cliff. In 2023, we have some major economic things that are going to happen that's going to impact schools. And we got lots of energy happening around information that as school board members, we don't have control over. But I would love to see that energy go towards the fact that we have something coming very soon that we need to get in front of legislators and make sure that we are doing what's best for our kids. Just a small note. I hope we have the same energy for when that cliff hits, because when it comes, it's coming fast and furious. Next on our agenda, we have the NCEA featured educator. I don't know who's presenting tonight. I'm looking, oh, Paul. Hey, Paul. How are you doing? Welcome to the meeting. We'd love to hear who you are featuring this evening, or are you the feature?
Oh, no, I'm not the feature.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Chair Ford, North Clackamas School Board. Hi, North Clackamas students, families, and educators. My name is Paul Shepro, and I'm here on behalf of NCEA, the North Clackamas Education Association, to present this month's featured educator, Rachel Wong. I'm fortunate to be able to work with Rachel at Oak Grove Elementary and would like to share just a few short quotes from some of her colleagues. So I asked 3 people for quotes about her. One said, Rachel is an amazing teacher who not only inspires and connects with her students, but also helps to inspire and build connections with the whole Oak Grove community. I feel so lucky to get to work with her. The second person said, Rachel is the energy and the heartbeat of the school. She creates new programs and opportunities for our students every year and has dedicated herself to helping students in all ways. And the third person said, Rachel Wong is a gifted, passionate, and inspiring educator who brings her positivity and enthusiasm for teaching and learning into her classroom and our school each and every day. She believes her students can learn and do anything, whether teaching kindergarten or 4th grade, and she empowers them to grab hold of every single learning opportunity. She is also an incredible teacher leader, sharing her passions and expertise with all of us who have the joy of working with her. She is the very best. So that's what her colleagues think of her. And Rachel, your Oak Grove team is very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Is this my turn to talk now? Okay. Well, I am just so honored that they chose me to speak today. And I was thinking, what do I want to say? Well, I wanted to represent my colleagues. And I appreciate how they said I'm the heartbeat, and my heartbeat's is beating very fast right now. So I will try to talk slowly. But so I asked my colleagues, what's your favorite part of being a teacher? What does it mean to be a teacher, especially right now? And they said, well, being a teacher means you are doing something different every single day. There's never a dull moment. You can be teaching the same lesson that you've taught before or a similar lesson, and every single time a kid will do something or say something that will blow your mind, make you laugh, or make you think really deeply. Another teacher said, being a child's first teacher in kindergarten is such a gift. I mean, it's a very fun experience to try to explain to a kindergartner what comes after kindergarten. Just the joy that they understand of what we get to be in school for so many years. They love it at kindergarten. So that's exciting. Another person said, if you want to ever feel like a rock star, just walk into the cafeteria. Everybody there knows your name and shouts it out and says hi and hello. But I think what we all love the most is that magical expression that comes across a child's face when they finally understand something. But we all know it's not magic because it takes a lot of work on all of our ends and a lot of work from them. That leads to some of my favorite stories of being a teacher. I have two. One of them is I love to challenge kids. I love to make kids think. My favorite subject is math. And this year I had a little friend walk into my classroom who was not such a big fan of math. And every single time I'd say, hey, let's get ready for math, the chair would get knocked down, the pen would go flying, and frequently they would leave the classroom. But recently, when I've said, okay, let's put away our things and get ready for math, gets a smile on his face and he goes, yeah. And he just cheers with excitement. And right now we can laugh about all the funny things kids say because we're wearing a mask. But that's one of our joys, is just all the things they say every single day that bring us smiles and laughters, and they make each other laugh and they make each other smile. My other favorite part of the day is at 1:55. And it's not just because it's the end of the school day, but it's because of the opportunity. I have 3 kids who go to care. And every time I say line up to go, the whole classroom breaks out into a solid 15 seconds of goodbye, Jen, goodbye, Peter, goodbye, Sam, goodbye, Jen, goodbye, Peter, goodbye, Sam, over and over again. And when I think about that, it's because they just love each other so much. They care about each other. And you wouldn't believe it, but we walk out the classroom and the next thing you know, we're passing the care window and those 3 kids are waving goodbye. And my class is waving goodbye to every single one. From an observer, you would think we were in a parade. But what to me it shows is that the relationship they have for each other, they value, and they really care about how they make each other feel and how they treat each other. So that is one of my favorite things. So I just want to thank the district for the social emotional learning that we value that. You guys have invested in high quality curriculums for us. You allowed schools to choose an SEL curriculum that fits their needs. I find that as a first, and I'm really thankful for that. As we returned to in-person learning, it brought a lot of new challenges, but because of the SEL foundation that I know our building and a lot of buildings laid the groundwork for before the pandemic and tried to do online, they are returning with pretty much a good successful rate. I think they're having good transitions. I want to thank our district and our leaders for investing in good quality curriculum, particularly in our reading and in our SEL. And I hope the district does the same thing with our upcoming math adoption. I want to thank the union quickly for bringing the many great ideas for our teacher relief package. And I want to thank the district for agreeing to many of those so quickly. I know the week that was passed, I had 4 after-school hour-long meetings, and that brought it down to 3. So that extra hour of prep time I used. And I just want to thank you as the board. I know right now your job is challenging. Not everybody agrees, but I really believe that you take every choice that you make into consideration and you think about how it's going to affect everybody. And I appreciate that. So thank you very much for your time. I am feel honored to represent my colleagues this month, and everybody keep up the good work. Our kids deserve it. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations. And I can see just based on your presentation why people love you. I mean, that's clear. Board members, do you have any comments? Director Bauer.
Rachel, congratulations. Your enthusiasm is infectious. I can see why your kids love you. And you mentioned high standards and believing in kids. That came across. And even your whole idea about, liking what you're learning, loving math, that changing your attitude about things really makes a difference. And you're doing a great job. Thank you and congratulations.
Director Way.
Thank you, Chair Ford. Hi, Rachel. You said you were nervous, and it just did not come across that at all in your presentation. So I also just want to echo what Director Bauer said. Thank you so much just for your passion, your commitment to just being a teacher. It just shows. And I also just like what you said about acknowledging that this is still a very tough transition time for kids to go back to school, for teachers to go back into the regular routine of things. And it takes all of us. It takes all of us as a community to make sure that our kids are successful. And you're definitely a part of that. So again, thank you so much for everything. And I hope we can definitely keep you around for as long as we can in our district.
Thank you very much.
Director McVeigh.
I just want to say thank you. We all have choices, and I really appreciate you choosing North Clackamas School District for your profession. And if I'm ever in a Toastmaster Table Topic team event, I want you on my team. I didn't hear an or an ah that entire time.
Very cool. Director Benaloga, did I see you raise your hand? Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Ford. Yes, congratulations, Rachel. Your energy is infectious. And I will also say, I wanted to piggyback, of course, on the comments from the other directors, but I also wanted to mention that I love to hear you speaking about the relationships, because it is so much about building that culture and building a love of each other and building a love of learning. So thank you for being a part of that and for creating those relationships and those bonds in your classroom, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Director Perez.
Yeah, thank you, Board Chair. Rachel, congratulations. And also I want to echo what my fellow board directors said, and also what Director Benaloga just said about how the kids, when you were describing at 155, how they care for each other and they love each other and they say bye and bye and bye. And then how you had that impact on the child who now comes into math and says, yeah, that, a lot of that starts with you. And to see you have that impact on those children and creating that where they're comfortable and they're safe and they're warm and they have that relationship and they have that village. That's a lot of that's you too. Thank you, Rachel. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you.
I think we got everybody. So I'll just end with, congratulations and job well done. It's clear you love what you're doing. And I appreciate all your comments about the things that are working for you and your team and who you represent. So thank you for always showing up. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Next on our agenda is our budget committee appointments. This is an action item. I do want to go through just a few things just so the public is aware of how we got to this. And before I go through the transactional stuff of how we got here, I want to say thank you. We got a ton of submissions, and I do think that is a great thing. At the end of the day, we don't all have to agree. But in order for things to change, you got to be willing to do the work. And so when all these people show up and willing to do the work, it's pretty darn amazing, and I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you to all that did submit. The appointment at this point is for positions 12, 13, and 14. So there's 3 different positions for the North Clackamas School District Budget Committee with separate motions for each one as we go through it. But first we have to go through a process. I'm going to read this because I want to make sure it's in the record. There will be no budget impact from appointing a budget committee member, as budget committee members cannot receive compensation. As Neither do board members, by the way. The board declared budget committee positions 12, 13, and 14 vacant as at its September 23rd, 2021 meeting due to expired terms. New appointees will serve 3 years for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2024. The district announced the opening to the public through local newspapers, Facebook, Parent Square, and posting on the district website, setting a deadline for October 15th. Thank you to our board secretary for helping those that needed help in the process. The board received 22 applications. Due to the high number of applicants, each candidate was asked to submit an introductory video of themselves before Wednesday, October 27th at 4 p.m. The board independently reviewed 12 videos that had been submitted and invited the following 6 candidates to the interview process on November 4th. And those candidates are April Dobson, Darren Driscoll, Diane Bishop, Emily Kuhn Moore, Julie Scarpel, Matthew Macara. So at this time, what we're going to do is do kind of a round, for lack of a better term, around 3 rounds of voting. If it gets to 3 rounds, you guys, the board members have a sheet, or are we doing it through Google Docs? Sandra, how are we doing that? You're on mute. You're on mute. Sandra, you're on mute.
Sandra, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. I'm just talking to myself. Yes. So on your sheet are links to the Google Forms, one for each of the different rounds and the ballots. So in the past, we had little paper ballots that we pass around and fill out and hand in. And so we're going to try to do this virtually. We'll see how this works.
Okay.
So on the very first position 12, you need to choose 3 people that you would like to vote for. And those results will come to me and I will tally them on a sheet that I'm going to start displaying.
Excellent. So while I will give you guys a few minutes to do round 1, this is for position 12, the first position, even though they're all eligible for all of them. I want to be clear. It's not like we designated the submissions for any seat, but right now we're focused on 12. So go ahead and submit your numbers. And if you want to say something, I'm opening the floor for that also. I'm going to submit my numbers.
Chair Ford, would you repeat that last part? Are you saying you're open to a nomination of a candidate?
No, you have to submit it on the document, but I'm open to people making comments. I think that people may want to say something. They can at this time as people start to put their numbers in, but you have to put it on the form.
Thank you, Chair. I had a little bit of computer lag.
So Chair Ford, what we're submitting is a Google Doc form, correct?
For round 1, position 12 on your document that says voting procedures, position 12, there should be a ballot link for round 1. That's the only one you want to do first.
Okay.
And once you submit it, it goes to Sandra and she will tally it and we all can see it here for her to tell us who the top 3 are. You are only picking your top 3 candidates at this time for this position. Any other questions?
Is it based on the 6 videos and interviews that they did, right?
Yep, and also we had a rubric that
Yeah.
we completed in watching the interviews, so yes.
Yeah, I've got my, great.
So I'm still waiting for Gina and Stevens.
Okay, do you guys have
Okay.
any questions? Are you guys
I
good?
just received Gina's.
Okay,
I'm not going to post them up on the tally until I have everyone's
Everybody.
votes.
okay.
Chair, I'm having permission problems. Is there a way that I can?
Let me see. Oh, I can submit
Can
again.
you send me the spreadsheet directly?
Or send me, Director Shadle, send it to me because it looks like I can make a.
It's by email address.
Correct.
Um,
It's opening up in Chrome, which is kind of different login.
Okay.
And so trying to.
Are you in your district email account?
I'm trying.
And while we're waiting for that, so the way this will work is we shouldn't have to move to a round 2 if the 3 are aligned across the board, correct?
So what we do is the next step on this is any candidate with 4 more ballots will move to round 2. If there's only 2, then we immediately go to round 3.
Got it.
So Stephen, were you able to get into it, or do you want to, you can send me a text with your 3.
Just getting logged in now. Let me see if I can
get
it open.
Okay, I see Stephen. So we've got.
So I would say, are you inputting right on this screen in front of us?
Okay, I will now enter and board members, please make sure I'm doing it correctly if you see any errors. Okay. Does that look correct, everyone?
Looks like we got head nods, yes.
Okay, so that looks like the 3 at the bottom, Emily, Julie, and Matthew will go into round 2. And how this works is you weight your choices. Your first choice gets 10 points. Your second choice gets 5 points. So now there's another Google form to submit that, those choices. And you'll need to type the names on that ballot.
Okay. Is everybody clear on their second
No, when I click on round 2, it brings up the same document. Oh, never mind.
Okay,
Okay.
yay.
It is round 2, right, that we're clicking on?
Correct.
Okay.
Round 2 for position 12.
And clarify, round 2 shows 2 names to choose from. Is that correct?
Yes, because you're only choosing 2 people, their first choice and second choice.
How are we doing on submissions? Everybody good?
I need one more. Okay, I have 7 now. I'm still tallying on paper, and then I'll transfer it here in a second. Okay. I am back, and let me. So now I have to remember. So 10 points is a first choice, 5 points is a second choice. Okay, does that look correct to everyone?
Is that a 3-way tie again? Are you kidding me?
I actually submitted something different, Sandra.
Okay. Okay, let me go back to your submission here.
I believe I did.
Let me look here. That's why we want you to check. So we've got.
Here, I'll
I
submit it.
reversed you.
Okay.
I reversed it. I believe that was. Does that look?
Yes.
Okay.
So that makes Matthew the position 12 person, or we have to keep going?
Hang on, let me read the instructions again. So if you receive 4 votes as a first choice, then you are automatically, which no one received 4 first choice.
Mm-hmm.
So then 2 candidates with the highest total points then go into round 3. So that would be Emily Kuhn-Moore and Matthew Makara.
Okay.
You'll want to do round 3, and each of you just submit one name. You're voting for one person at this point.
Is everybody aware of what they're doing and we're good? Buckle up, you got 2 more rounds. 2 more seats. Did you get everybody, Sandra? Are we waiting for anyone?
I have all 7. I'm just double checking what I've got here. I feel like, who's the guy on MSNBC with the khakis? Okay. All right, so we've got. Okay, does that match? Look correct, everyone.
I think we have head nods. So
Okay.
according to the rules, the person with 4 or more votes is considered appointed, correct?
That is correct.
Well, congratulations to Matthew. Is it Makara? Am I saying that correctly? Does anyone know? Well, we'll learn very soon. Congratulations to position number 12. And we will start this again, but we have a different form, right? So keep
Correct.
Going to the next.
There's the next page on your document has the links to the next ones.
Okay.
So we do the same thing, 3, on round 1, you choose 3 people.
But it's minus Matthew, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is for position 13.
Okay, how are we doing, everyone?
Yeah, I have all 7. I just need to catch up.
Okay. The suspense is real.
Okay, close here. Okay, I can fill in the numbers here, but real quick.
It should be round one, right, Sandra?
This is round, oh yes, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I need to scroll up here. Okay. So it looks like we have 4 people that have 4 or more. Is that correct?
But aren't we only supposed to take the top 2?
Round 1.
So this round we vote for only 2 of those 4, correct?
No,
we take
any
3.
candidate named on 4 or more ballots move to round 2.
Right.
So-
we're only picking 2 out of those 4, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
When you're, yes, the top 4. So either April, Diane, Emily, or Julie, pick your first and second choices in round 2.
Okay. Do you have everyone? Are you missing anyone?
I have 6. Now I have 7.
Okay.
Okay, I'm coming. Okay.
Okay, round three, we just picked the one out of Julie, Emily, and April, right? Am I reading that right? Or
No, you take the first two, the top two, I believe.
I thought we're in round three.
For round three, you pick the top two from round two. So it would be Emily and Julie that you would be voting for one of them.
Okay. How are we doing? Are you just?
I've got all seven. I'm just tallying right
Perfect.
now.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay.
So
Looks like we have 4 votes for Emily Kuhn-Moore.
Cool. So that means that for position 13, Emily Kuhn-Moore is appointed. Congratulations. Okay.
Okay.
One more.
One more. And question, since we're down to 4 people,
Yeah.
do you still want to choose 3 or do you want to bend rules and only choose 2?
All right. I don't know about everyone else, but I mean, we've kind of gone through the process. So I think we just need to do it like we've been doing it. I don't want to switch it midway.
Okay. I just was throwing that out there.
Okay, yeah. All right, so let's go for position 14. Everyone is up for grabs except Emily and Matthew, correct?
Emily and Matthew, correct.
Okay. Okay.
All right, yeah, I have all 7. I'm just tallying up now. Okay. Okay, so it looks like
You're missing one for
April-
Orlando.
What's that? Oh, we are missing one from Orlando. Sorry.
Sandra,
I'm
what
good.
did I do to you tonight?
I don't know. I'm picking on you. Okay, I think I've got all yours now. Does that look correct, everyone?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
April, Diane, and Julie.
yep.
Okay,
So round two, first, second choices.
Chair, will you repeat that? I had a computer issue.
it's April. I can't see it all. I believe it's April, Diane, Julie. Am I correct?
Let me pull it back up here.
Yep, April, Diane, and Julie.
Okay. Good. Okay. Does that look correct to everyone?
I'm seeing head nods. So we pick one from April and Julie, correct?
Nope. Julie has four first choice, so that's an automatic.
Oh, okay,
assign.
got it. So then position 14, correct? The
Correct.
appointment goes to Julie Scarpel. Congratulations. Again, thank you everyone for your submissions, one, and thank you everyone on the board for your process here. And I also want to say, for those that did not get appointed, we would love to talk to you because there's lots to do. And just because this appointment didn't happen doesn't mean there isn't somewhere we can absolutely use your energy. So please, please, please reach out. We'd love to have you a part of the team in some way. All right, thank you guys for that. Who emails them? I'm sorry, for clarity, and lets them know if they're not listening. Like who does that?
I do that. I will let them know. And we actually mail letters too.
Okay, perfect. Before we move on to our next agenda item, I want to open up the floor to table agenda item number 5 for the next meeting in December. Open the floor for a motion. Agenda item number 5, table it until next meeting in December.
I'll make a motion, Board Chair, to move the agenda item number 5, table it for January.
Director Benaloga, second.
Okay, I hear a motion to table agenda item number 5, superintendent evaluation process discussion to December. And I hear a second from Director Benaloga. Any discussion needed? Okay. All opposed, please use your voice. Hearing none, we will move agenda item 5 to, we'll table it until December, which is still in line with our schedule for the superintendent evaluation process. Okay, moving to agenda item number 4, Whitcomb Elementary School presentation. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good evening. Happy Thursday.
Happy
I'm so excited to share with you Principal Serna and Assistant Principal Cates, and of course the Whitcomb Elementary School team to highlight all the great things happening at their school. So Principal Serna and Assistant Principal Cates, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Williams. I appreciate it. Good evening, Chair Ford and board members. My name is Brian Cates. I'm the assistant principal over at Whitcomb Elementary School. Presenting with me today is going to be Angelica Serna, our principal, Annie Schlegel, our behavior specialist and social worker, and Erica Ramirez, one of our DLI teachers. I'm going to go ahead and share screen and get started. Or in just a second, I'll share. Here we go.
Let's make sure that he has the ability.
I do have the ability, but I apologize. It looks like I don't have that set up on my computer. Give me just 1 second here. We are used to working with Google Meets. So give me 1 second.
You may have to restart your computer once you give the privileges to. So you may have to.
Well, let's see. That's a little problematic.
It's that kind of night, Brian.
Yep, that's what we're.
There we go.
Here we go. We got.
We
Thank
got
you, Miss Annie. We appreciate you. As Miss Annie is setting that up for us, I do want to also acknowledge the community, the board, and the school district. Not too long ago, about 4 years ago, Whitcomb was a recipient of a complete remodel. So we appreciate the work and the support to pass that bond measure so we could redo our school. And every day our kids show up. They get to be in a great facility and with a great space that is very conducive to learning and growth. So thank you so much. We are very appreciative. And the highlights that we're going to go through today, is the work that our staff, our team, and our students have done with identity, social emotional learning. We're going to highlight our dual language immersion program. Specifically, we have a Spanish program at our school. We're going to talk a little bit about some academics, specifically with math. We have done a lot of work with habits in mind, and I'm excited to share what that looks like in our school. And then we're very proud of the family support that we've been able to provide to our community during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thanks, Mr. Cates. Good evening. My name is Angelica Serna. This is my 4th year as principal at Lot Whitcomb. I want to first start by thanking the community of Lot Whitcomb, the staff, students, and families. I feel blessed to work with such an amazing community. As Brian shared, we are going to be highlighting some of the many strengths of our Lot Whitcomb team. This slide was created to show what we believe in keeping students at our center, and we continue to practice elevating student voices in our community. We believe that all of these areas are interconnected, and we must foster all areas for students to be successful. One of the many things that I am proud of is the work that we have done around supporting students' identities. We know that students are having these conversations with or without adults. And so we want to create a safe space where we are giving students the tools, strategies, language, and opportunities to learn about their own identities as well as others. As we create these safe spaces for students to learn and have conversations about their and other student identities, students will feel more comfortable with sharing their own experiences with us and others, which helps us build deep relationships. The goal for our students to know, learn, and feel confident with their own identity and value those who have identities different from theirs. You'll see in some next slides examples of how we allow students to identify their own identities. Students will see staff who identify like them and their peers. Just some of the work that our staff has done is commitment to professional learning. Some of that is supported by our district through Taking It Up, and we have also had other professional development opportunities at Whitcomb. We also provide direct instruction with our students. We also, in the next couple of slides, have shown collaboration that teachers have done, both teachers and admin, as we go into classroom and provide some of that direct instruction with students. We do know that we have quite a few videos in here. So we are, go ahead. So the next few slides were created by teachers at Whitcomb, where students are able to check in about their identity. And we also know that as students learn about their identity, sometimes they will make shifts in how they identify, and we support that. So here are just some slides again that a teacher has created for students to be able to identify themselves. And then the last slide that she had was really an opportunity for students to ask questions. So in a later slide, you will see where students shared their feelings about that. Here's an example. Here's an example of two teachers, one teacher in our DLI and a teacher in our English strand came together to talk about race. And so they worked together to present that both in English in one of the classrooms and then in Spanish. We know we provided you with the slideshow, so we are going to let you watch the next two videos on your own. And we're going to go ahead and go to the third video. Oh, sorry, Miss Annie. Yep, the third video, because one of the things that we often hear is that young students are not able to have conversations about race. And so we wanted to give an example about conversations that are happening.
Can you hear if I'm in my headphones? Is it presenting?
I'm not hearing it.
A little distorted, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try again.
That's perfect.
Them have outlines of different centers and them outside of in different places. My skin is brown. Okay, I got black and white. You mix. Yeah. Black, native, white. Yeah, I got black and white. French Creole. Make my fake color.
So as you can see there, very young children are talking about what they see and about their race and their culture and what they talk about with their families. And so we want to, again, create that safe space for them to be having those conversations at our school. So our next steps is just to continue the work and build a scope and sequence so that we can have a clear sense of what we want students to learn and experience at each grade regarding identities and race. Last, I would like to highlight that as we continue to grow as a staff, more and more, we are mirroring our student population. We know that representation matters to student success and relationships. This includes our instructional assistants, 2 of which are highlighted here. This is Jesus Cruz Carrasco and Kaylee Galicia, who both graduated from Milwaukee High School. Jesus is pursuing a career in law enforcement and Kaylee is pursuing a career in education. I will also share with the board at a later time a statement from her.
I'm Annie Schlegel. I'm a school social worker and behavior interventionist, and we have done a ton of work around social emotional learning, and that's really a foundation and pillar of what we do at Lot Whitcomb. And it's really grounded in this philosophy that was here long before any of us were at this school, that talks about autonomy, belonging, and competence, and how our staff are really committed to those ideals when they talk about social emotional learning. And I think over the last few years, we've really tried to integrate trauma-informed practices and equity work into what that looks like. And that will be a continued area of growth for us. That's something that we're never going to stop working on. I feel very fortunate to be at Lot Whitcomb because social emotional learning is such a cornerstone of our practices. It's integrated throughout the day. It starts in the morning with a soft start and morning meetings. We've integrated caring school communities in the last couple of years, which really focuses on this community-centered idea around building norms together, building skills together, and how we work in community. One of the things I also really value is that as we celebrate students' identities, we're allowing them to become more regulated too, and decreasing the cortisol in their brains as we're talking about identities that really that we're celebrating. And so how that's allowing our students to access their prefrontal cortexes. And I had a student today tell me, like, I was in my amygdala, and so I had a really hard time learning, and that they have all this language around social emotional learning that is so helpful. We've integrated this into our multi-tiered systems of support and have a really comprehensive multi-tiered system to support our SEL practices throughout the school. And I think, yeah, as I said before, our continued growth will be how do we incorporate equity into this work, because we know it looks different depending on our backgrounds and our identities, and that we want to make sure that all of that is centered, that regulation doesn't just look like breathing for students. It looks like a myriad of what's happening at home and bringing that into school. So a couple of things that we've done is the Wolf Den. Do we have time to watch these videos? Okay. And pause areas in each classroom. So Julian's going to tell you a little bit about what a pause area is and how he uses it.
I use the pause area, so when I'm mad, I will go there and use the thing where it goes and there's different types of ones in there, and there's little things that shake up and down, and also it can cheer you down if someone calls you rude stuff or is being rude to you.
So in every classroom, there's a pause area. And then we also have a space called the Wolf Den, and it's a regulation space that all students can access.
I use the pause area, so when I'm mad.
And this is Marcos, he's in 4th grade, so it will be in Spanish.
Listos. Este cuarto es para calmarte y si estás en el rojo o en el azul, puedes venir aquí y le preguntas a tu maestra que si puedes venir para calmarte, para irte a tu verde y como puedes hacernos esos veces como ahí.
I think what's been great about the Wolf Den is that we co-created it with students and they're able to help us, like tell us what they want in that space. And over time, we've been able to shift it to meet the needs where kids are using it less and less because they understand how to regulate and build skills in their classrooms. And then it doesn't have to be used as often. So it's a great, one of the many ways that we're addressing student needs and mental health.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erika Ramirez Novello, and I am a teacher at Whitcomb, and I've worked there for 5 years. I taught kindergarten for 4 years, and now I am teaching 3rd grade. And something special about my job is that I teach in Spanish, and I love that because Spanish is my native language. And another thing about this job is that I was the teacher who started the bilingual program at Whitcomb, and that makes me feel very special. I identify as Latina, and I was born in Mexico, so I identify as Mexican. And to be more specific, I was born in the state of Yucatan, so I identify as Yucateca. My state, Yucatan, has a lot of Mayan influence. We have Mayan ruins and Mayan language, Mayan people, Mayan houses, Mayan clothes that we still wear. And my grandparents speak Mayan. Unfortunately, they didn't teach the Mayan language to their children. My brother thought this was very sad, and he put himself into Mayan lessons. So he's learning Mayan to be a translator or an interpreter, and he wants to help Mayan people to communicate. So after my grandparents, maybe my brother is the one who's gonna keep the Mayan language alive in our family. That was a little about me and my identity, but also we have a DLI team at Whitcomb. We have Maestra Veronica in kindergarten who identifies as Latina and Mexicana. We have in 1st grade, we have Mrs. Ramirez Klein, who also identifies as Latina. And in 2nd grade, we have Maestra Womack, who also identifies as Latina and Mexicana. Our goal as a team and as a school, as the DLI program, is that our students become bilingual too, learning from us who are native Spanish speakers. And we can teach the language, but also we can teach about the Hispanic culture. We want them to have high academic achievements and be successful in life. We work hard every day. We attend to a lot of trainings and conferences like La Cosecha, where we can connect with other teachers and we can share experiences and learn from each other. And after that, we can bring that to our classrooms and the kids get all the benefits from that. We want to keep working together. This year we have kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade at Whitcomb, but next year our school will need to hire a 4th grade teacher, and the following year they will need to hire a 5th grade teacher for the DLI program. We love diversity in our classroom because this is good for everyone. We learn from each other and we grow together. Now we're gonna watch some videos and we're gonna hear from some DLI students.
I think he's talking, but we can't hear him.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I forgot that part. Thank you.
Es importante aprender y hablar español porque puedes hablar a otras personas y mi materia favorita es matemática.
Ajá. ¿Y hablas español también en tu casa?
Ajá.
Qué bueno. Ok, gracias.
Mi nombre es Whitcomb.
Palabra.
So you have to
A ver, trata de decirme en español. Ajá.
Tú tenías que hacer eso como esta, pero tú necesitas la correcto palabra.
El sonido correcto.
Sí.
Entonces, ¿qué sonido piensas que ocupas para esta? ¿Qué es?
I can't really remember.
Fresa. Fresa. A ver si puedes buscar fre.
Thank you, Maestra Erica, for highlighting our amazing DLI program. And thanks for the assist from Karen and Juan Camilio. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the habits of mind and interaction. And this is a PD that we've done, I believe, for the past 2 years. Well, 3 years, we took a pause, slight pause during the CDL and then picked it back up. And our goal for the habits of mind and intention is for all students to see them as math experts. This doesn't always happen. Traditionally, I think you see in classrooms, you typically have the same 5 students who are always raising their hand and speaking up. And really with this framework, it really challenges us as teachers to push and support all students to see them as the experts and be able to engage and participate in the class discussions. Our staff has spent a lot of time with habits of mind interaction work with PDs, like I said, over the last 3 years with a small pause, and have been working with the teacher development group from Math Studio. And the process, again, really does a great job of enhancing student voice. This happens through collaboration with students, a lot of different group works, and there's a lot of good framework or pieces involved that help students identify how to work through problems, teaches them things like about mistakes and stuck points and what to do. And really pushes them to justify their thinking and explain their reasoning. The other thing about this curriculum or this kind of framework is it really does a great job of allowing students multiple pathways for learning so they can access the learning that fits what they need, and then also to present that information to us as well. One of the things that I've seen this year that has been extremely valuable for myself is, again, like I was mentioning too, is helping students see themselves as experts. There's a lot of focus on who is speaking, who is talking, and for teachers to have some intentionality to scaffold, support, and build confidence in students who aren't speaking. And so finding ways to partner with them and have them share in a one-on-one setting with a peer, and eventually becoming one of the voices in the room that can be an expert. Our next steps for Habits of Mind is integrating it into all subject areas and supporting peers with observations, peer and peer observations if they choose to do so. And then continuing to, again, support the collaboration between our staff. We're going to see a quick video from one of our students that's going to be utilizing mathematical representation to help justify their answer. And again, what you'll see here is kind of the beauty is it helps students justify where their answers are correct, or in some cases where they might have made a mistake and where learning happens.
To hear your math thinking too.
here's my curiosity. You think there's 18 pictures altogether? You think there's 16 pictures altogether? Can both of those answers work for this problem?
I have 16. She has 16.
And then, but she had 18 right here. So could the answer be 18 and 16? Can it be both?
It can be both.
All right, so you guys gonna figure out which one it is.
We come here, and then when we put our numbers here, we have if we want to be sure, we count this because it was a group, and we count it, and then if it's 16, then we put it up there.
All right,
Okay.
count them. Let's see. Let's count them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It was 18.
Oh, where do you think your mistake was when you got 16?
I counted a little bit wrong.
Bingo. Nice. You got a
Muted when I wasn't supposed to. Yeah, our students have been, I mean, just like we're so thankful they're back in the building and that we've been able to support them through COVID. And we're also really thankful to our community partners who have helped us through this time. We were able to support 140 families in acquiring financial support. So that was things like needing rental assistance, helping pay bills, and that was directly through Wichita Center and Boys and Girls Club, but also to an amazing partnerships that we have in our community, especially through our local churches and our local nonprofits. So those families those organizations were key in helping us keep families housed and then fed. We fed 163 families with Backpack Buddies partnership, and that didn't include Clackamas Service Center, who came every week throughout the pandemic. So we just were really able to provide basic needs to families during this time, and I feel very grateful that we were able to do that.
So we just want to thank you for this opportunity. I think working or actually putting this together as a team, we were able to really celebrate all of the greatness that there is in Whitcomb. So I think that spending time on this really allowed us to really think about next steps, but also really to look back and see how far that we have come. So I want to thank you. And then I think if there's any questions, we would be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We really appreciate you guys. Board, if we can stop sharing, so thank you, appreciate that. Any questions from the board or comments? Director Perez?
I can go. Thank you, Board Chair. Yeah, thank you, Angelica and Brian and Erica and Annie for the wonderful presentation. I just want to say, it feels like, just hearing the overall presentation, it feels like Whitcomb has become a safe area, not just for students, but for families. And, you know, you said you created a safe space for conversations around race and identity, but also when I hear you talk about the social emotional learning that you have there, and then you have the wolf stand, the pause there, all those things. And allowing students to feel like they belong. But social emotional learning is so huge, probably now more than ever, because it supports the well-being of our children and the positive impact on mental health too, with the social emotional learning. And also at the end of the day, it ties into increasing how well they do in a classroom. If the children are doing well, then in that area, then they do well. They tend to academically. And so what you have there in place, it just sounds, I hope all schools can replicate that. So thank you for the good work you're doing, and please keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Director Bauer?
I echo what Director Perez says, but then also just thank you so much for, there's always that feeling of family or community when I was able to visit, but shout out to the Madres and all the work that Annie has done on that. the DLI. It's just amazing, the program that you built, and hiring diverse staff. Just a few things I wanted to note. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. We appreciate you guys presenting. And board, don't forget, there was a video earlier that we still need to watch on our own, so don't forget. Thank you guys. Okay, moving on to our Oregon School Board elections. This is a presentation by Mitzi. It says discussion, is that correct?
If possible, it would be nice to move it to action. I'm going to ask for that if possible.
Okay, well, I'm passing it to you.
Okay, thank you. We are grateful that we have 2 board members that are continuing or want to continue in positions at the Oregon State School Board. That organization was formed in 1946 and provides so much training, education, legislative advocacy for all school boards. So it's also chances for leadership. And we have 3 positions. There's position 8 that Lieber Ford has a candidate for that position for the board of directors. Position 7 is Chrissy Wright. She's in the Hood River School Board chair at Hood River for the Legislative Policy Committee, and Kathy Way, position 8, Legislative Policy Committee. All of these women are great, impressive leaders. We had their resumes. They're leaders in our community. They're leaders statewide. So I would highly recommend them. So any discussion? Since this is discussion, do we feel comfortable with a motion to move it to action?
I make the motion to move this item to an action.
Thank you, Tori. Is there a second?
Second.
Director Benaloga, second.
Was it
I beat Director
Benaloga?
Benaloga that time.
Okay, Director Perez gets a second. Okay, so I think we need a motion for each one of these positions. So let's start with position 8, the
I believe we need
OSBA.
to vote on that motion.
Oh, thank
Director
you.
Bauer.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so anyone all opposed to that motion to move it to an action item? Please speak up now. So since it's not opposed, the motion passes. We'll move it to action. Now I'll entertain a motion on each one of the positions, and we'll vote on those. First one we'll look at is position 8. Is there a motion?
Director Benaloga, I move that we nominate? Nominate Lieber Ford for the OSBA Board of Directors, position 8.
Director Stradle, second.
Who had the second?
I think Stradle did.
Thank you. Okay.
Vice Chair, I have a point, parliamentary thing. Was the motion to move to second for both positions, or was?
We're doing one position at a time.
Okay, but so we will have a motion to move from discussion to action potentially for the second position, or did you do a motion? Did we have a motion in a second to move all to an action?
Yeah, it was a motion and second to move all things to action.
Thank you for the clarity.
Okay, I guess we didn't say all, but thank you, Director Sherman. Okay, now so we did have a motion for position 8 to nominate Lieber Ford, and it was seconded. All opposed, speak now. I don't hear any opposition, so the motion passes that Lieber Ford will be nominated for position 8. Moving on to position 7.
Motion.
Is there a nomination?
Oh, motion to nominate Kathy Way for position.
Okay, We'll go to position 8 then. So Kathy Way for position 8. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all opposed, speak now.
Clarifying question. Was that for position 8? Was that for position 8 or was Director Ford for position 8?
No. Well, good question. Position 8 is for OSBA Board of Directors, Lieber Ford. Position 8 is also Legislative Policy Committee for Kathy Way. Probably should have stated the whole motion. Do you want to restate it, Director Schertl?
Move approval of Kathy, nominate Kathy Way for position 8 on the policy.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Director Schradel and seconded by Director Perez. All opposed, voice now. I don't hear any opposition. So the motion has passed. Congratulations, Kathy and Libra. Now we'll move to position 7, and this is another Legislative Policy Committee. Is there a
Today,
motion?
move approval of Chrissy Wrights to Legislative Policy Committee, position 7.
Okay, there's a nomination. Is there a second?
Director Benaloga, second.
Thank you. Okay, so it's been moved by Director McVeigh, second by Director Benaloga. All opposed, voice now. Seeing none, the motion passes. So we have 3 candidates that will move on, and Sandra can submit that ballot. Is that correct, Sandra? Congratulations, ladies, and thank you so much.
Yes, I will submit the ballot to OSBA. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Bauer, and thank you, Sandra, for those submissions. Moving right along to our next agenda item, which is complaint appeal. This is the discussion/action. Now, because of this topic, I am going to read this so that it is read into record. This is a discussion. The recommendation is discussion and to decide if we hear or not hear the complaint appeal. Policy KL-AR1 states the school board is the final step in the district's complaint process. For complaints under this policy, the school board may hear the appeal. If the school board decides to provide a hearing on the appeal, it will render a decision within 90 calendar days of initiation of the complaint. Background: on September 14, 2020, which one is it? Is it what is this, 2020 or 2021? I'm reading it. September 14th, 2020, I'm assuming the complaint was filed. Can someone give me that clarity? Because our document has both dates.
It should say 2021.
2021. Okay, so September 14th, 2021, the complainant filed a complaint with the school district under policy KL and JFCF. This complaint referenced 4 complaints filed for last spring, 2 of the school sites and 2 with the Oregon Department of Education, and 1-day mediation session. Since that day, the complainant has filed an additional 3 complaints with the school district under policy KL. The agenda item is solely in response to the complainant's complaint filed on September 14, 2020. Step 1, September 15th, the school principal investigated and responded to the complainant. Step 2, September 15th, the complainant indicated that the complaint was not resolved and sought additional resolution. Between September 15th, 2021 and September 24, 2021, the superintendent designee corresponded with the complainant through email, met with the complainant at the district office, met with the complainant at the school, and the investigation concerns described in the complaint. On October 5th, the superintendent designee completed an investigation and responded to the complainant. Step 3, on October 6, 2021, the complainant asked to appeal the decision of superintendent's designee. The appeal request includes items 1 through 10 included in our documents. The superintendent has reviewed the complainant decision at step 1 and step 2 and does not recommend that this complaint or decisions made in step 1 and 2 receive further consideration by the school board in step 3. This is currently discussion. The floor is open. Comments, questions, actions, motions. What's your heart desire? Anyone? Director Strado?
It's just say the motion, there's no motion. So without a motion and second, it cannot move forward.
We'd first need I think I missed part of your sentence. It sounded like the digital, so you're saying if we make a motion in a second, it cannot be what? What did you say?
Oh, without a motion, it will die for lack of a motion. Or do you need to have, or do we need to have clarity of?
I think we actually have to vote on not. It's a decide to hear or not to hear. Like we actually have to make a decision.
Thank you for the clarity. I was just going by the policy with the phrase may hear versus will or shall.
Yeah, and we may need to revisit that policy, but my understanding, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, is that we have to decide to hear or not to hear.
Okay, then Director Strado makes a motion to not hear the appeal.
We first have to turn this into an action. I'm sorry.
Motion to move this from discussion to action.
Perfect. Motion has been received. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion has been given by Director Strado, second by Director Perez. Any discussion on the motion to move it to action? Okay, hearing none. Anyone opposed, please voice your opinion now. Hearing none, motion is carried to move this to an action item. The floor is now open.
Director Strado, motion to not hear the appeal process, or he'll hear the appeal.
Hear a motion to not hear the appeal. Do I have a second?
Bauer, second.
And the motion has been given by Director Strado, second by Director Bauer. Any discussion? Director McVeigh.
Should this board determine not to hear the appeal, what is this family's next steps?
Great question. Who on staff can answer that?
Yeah, so they will have the option to appeal and take it to the Oregon Department of Education. And then the Oregon Department of Education will decide if they're going to investigate and hear from there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to do a roll call considering this vote. Director Perez, how do you vote?
Aye.
I'm sorry, before I accept your aye, do I need to restate the motion? Are we all clear on what we're voting on?
Chair Ford, if you would repeat the motion and what an aye vote means or a nay vote means.
Yes, absolutely. So the motion is to not hear. I don't want to say it. The Sandra, can you reread the motion? I don't want to say it incorrectly. The motion on the table is what?
The motion is to not hear the appeal.
Excellent. So at this point, if you're voting to not hear the appeal if you say aye. If you say nay, then you don't agree with that motion. Are we all clear? Okay, cool. Director Perez?
Aye.
Excellent. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Nay.
Director Way?
Aye.
Director Benaloga?
Aye.
And Director Strado?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Motion carries to not hear the appeal. Thank you all for that. Next thing on our agenda is our calendar revisions. And Tiffany Shireman, are you ready for us?
Good evening. I am. Good evening, all. We have sound? You can hear me? Great.
Yep.
So good evening tonight. I am seeking the board's approval of a proposed calendar revision for the current school year. It's currently listed as discussion and action. The proposed calendar revision converts Friday, December 17th, 2021 from a student instructional day to a teacher in-service workday. It's coming forward to you primarily for 3 reasons. The first is that the Oregon Department of Education's Ready Schools resiliency framework for this school year centers social and emotional health for students. We also have discussed many times here with the board the social emotional needs of our students in response both to the pandemic and to living life in 2021. This calendar revision would allow staff to receive much needed professional development in a variety of areas with a particular focus on the social emotional well-being of students. So a portion of December 17th would be focused on professional development. Since the school year started, this is reason 2, since the school year started in September, there has been a labor shortage that has impacted North Clackamas School District, as well as many other school districts in our state. There are staff positions that remain unfilled within our school district. A severe shortage of substitutes in particular has meant that each day, some students or some teachers, excuse me, are giving up their lesson planning time to fill in for colleagues. Specialists, principals, counselors, other administrators are all spending time in classrooms as teachers, and classified staff are covering for one another's duties. Staff members are overextended and could benefit from relief. So a portion of December 17 would also be dedicated to work time for staff to prepare and to catch up on work tasks. The third reason listed, and this is in your board agenda item, the severe shortage of substitutes is particularly worrisome on Fridays and on school days prior to winter or to school breaks. At this time, it is unclear if North Clackamas schools would be able to safely provide typical operations on Friday, December 17th, which is the day leading up to winter break. You'll notice in your board packet some information. We have a review available of employee absence data added within your board agenda packet. Historical data is listed there. Data is listed for the past 3 years for the Friday prior to winter break, though for 2018's data, it was a scheduled teacher workday already. So a little bit difficult to extrapolate that data to this year. For 2020, school was being held virtually. So also not a great comparison from a staff leave comparison. The best comparator that we have there is December of 2019. That's in your board packet. And when school was held in person on the Friday before winter break in December of 2019, it was a student instructional day. On that day, there were a total of 243 absences across employee groups. If staff absences were at those levels on the Friday before winter break this year, due to substitute shortages, North Clackamas would not be able to hold school safely. We do not have anywhere near that capacity in terms of substitute coverage to cover the positions that would require substitutes. The revised calendars that you have in your packet continue to exceed required instructional hours for a full school year. A full school year would still be in place at each grade level. And the calendars that we've brought to you tonight continue to provide at least 3 inclement weather days at each grade level that could be used in the event of emergency school closure. I'm available for any questions or comments. And again, tonight we are seeking action. We would like to give, if we do move in this direction, we would like to give community members, parents in particular, as much advance notice as possible.
For that, Like's been stated, this is a discussion action item, just to be clear. Do we have any discussion questions at this time? The floor is also open.
I move approval to move this to an action item, the revised calendar.
I hear a motion to move to an action item by Director McVeigh. Do I have a second?
Tradle, second.
Excellent. Any discussion needed? Hearing none, all opposed to moving to action item, please voice yourself now. Okay, hearing none, this is now an action item. Floor is open.
Is approval of the calendar agenda.
I hear a motion. Do I have a second? Did you hear that, Director McVeigh?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a second?
McVeigh, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed?
Yes, Board Chair. I just want to make a comment. I know these past however many months for this December 17th for the focus on the social and emotional well-being of our students. But I also just want to say, if we can maybe have something on that day to focus on the social and emotional well-being of our teachers and staff as well, because the impact on them. And I'll use the analogy of, I think I shared this with someone earlier today, that it's like when you get on that airplane and they say, before you can take care of your child, make sure you put on the oxygen mask first and take care of yourself. And that way you can take care of the child. These teachers and staff take care of our children. So let's make sure we have some focus for them too. I just want to say that.
Excellent. Any other discussion? I just want to say, I think during the pandemic, a lot of communities did an amazing job of creating pods and supporting each other when school was out and you had parents that had different things to do. I do understand that there's challenges when school's not in terms of taking care of children, but this is a great moment to do it again. If you're concerned about that, I think this is a great opportunity to go to your neighbor and ask them if they're going to be okay, while we take care of staff and handle what we need to do, as well as protect students and making sure that they're safe. Check on your neighbor, see if they're going to be okay with it. And I think that's how we all get through it. And then we can have a good winter break and come back stronger and better. So I really appreciate you guys being thoughtful about the day of choice. I think it makes sense. It's fluid. And so hopefully we can all, as a community, support the next steps. All right, I'll go ahead and hear where people are at. All those opposed to this motion, let me restate the motion because we've been talking about it for a second. The motion is to move forward with this calendar revision. All those opposed to moving forward with the calendar revision, please voice yourself now. Hearing none, motion carries. Calendar revisions are approved. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for hanging in there, and thank you for the adjustment to the agenda, especially Superintendent James. We'll get to you, promise. But everyone, thank you for coming. Thank you all for your voice. Every voice matters. Doesn't mean that every voice will get exactly what they asked for, but every voice matters. So we appreciate you coming. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe out there. Good night. Meeting adjourned, 8:45.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.